our objectives today are to take stock of current progress, celebrate achievements, and showcase our work, for example, the LD4D Solutions Group model as an opportunity for partnership and future innovation, and also gather your feedback and input on specific initiatives, for example, our gender data thread, our feed baskets work, and also shape the way forward.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to see you all here. So this has been a really great year for LD4D, and we're going to tell you all about it during this session. We have refined our strategy to ensure that we deliver tangible results, and this new approach is very much centered around promoting learning, collaboration, and co-creation. We have also reaffirmed our commitment to promoting gender equality in our work. So there's a few things I wanted to highlight to you. One is the development of our new theory of change and impact statement to guide our work. Our first solutions group pilot, which was focusing on climate finance for livestock development. And we also hosted a global event on digital innovations for livestock, which signals a start of our work in this area. I'm also very happy to report that our network continues to grow, and we have over 1,500 members worldwide. So in our last meeting in 2024, we asked you which topics you were interested in. And as you can see, many of the initiatives we implemented this year were based on your feedback. So if we could move on to the impact statement now, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So we conducted a comprehensive review of LD4D's theory of change and impact statement so that we had a clear pathway to achieve our goals. So this revised approach is very much centered around promoting collaboration and leveraging the wide range of expertise in our network to co-create knowledge products and data tools for decision-making. So the focus of our impact, as you can see here in the statement, is very much on promoting sustainable and inclusive livestock systems through data and evidence. Better informed policies and investments can lead to better livelihoods for livestock producers. They are the ultimate beneficiaries of our work. And you can see here on the statement that we also highlight the importance of gender equality in the work that we do. So this is how we plan to achieve our vision. So we want to generate in a very collaborative way with our members, innovative data tools and knowledge products. We want to foster learning, collaboration, and innovation through our knowledge exchange activities. We're also planning to implement more solutions groups at the global and country level, which we'll tell you more about in a bit. And we also want to build strategic partnerships with key livestock organizations and national governments. So let me tell you a little bit more about our Climate Finance Solutions Group. So solutions groups, for those of you who are new to the network, they are collaborative groups that bring together experts and decision makers to work on a data or evidence challenge. So this is an approach or a model that we really want to scale up next year, because these groups can work on different types of challenges, for example, related to gender or animal health. So the Climate Finance Solutions Group was our first pilot, like I said, and it brought together different organizations working in livestock. Let's have a look at their goals. So we had 20 international experts from different organizations working together. This included researchers, policymakers, and project specialists. And the goal was to generate evidence and insights to facilitate the flow of climate finance to the livestock sector. So these are some of our members, these are all our members, all the organizations in the group. As you can see, it was a big group with a wide range of knowledge and expertise. So the group produced 3 evidence briefs, The first one focused on building the investment case for climate finance for the livestock sector. It includes real-life case studies of how this has worked in different countries. The second brief focuses on quantifying emissions. It presents the different methodologies available. And the third one enables or provides advice to governments to develop an appropriate policy framework to attract climate finance. So all the briefs are on our website. You can access them via the QR code there. So these briefs have been disseminated in several international events that includes New York Climate Week. We also presented them at the workshop Scaling Up Methane Mitigation in Sustainable Tropical Agri-Food Systems. It's a long title, which was organized at the margins of the G20 Agriculture Working Group in Brazil. We also organized a dedicated webinar in October. It attracted over 100 people. And our members have also been promoting and disseminating the briefs in different international conferences. That includes the International Research Symposium on Agricultural Greenhouse Gas Mitigation in Germany. So now we're going to hear from one of our Solutions Group's member, Rebecca Chamberlain.
The Climate Finance and Livestock Solutions Group was organized to bring together experts across different organizations to better understand and address why the livestock sector has historically received limited climate financing. What did you like the most about working with the group? The opportunity for learning from my fellow group members, because we all come from different backgrounds: animal science, monitoring, evaluation, and learning, gender empowerment, climate and environmental sciences, the list goes on. I have gained a lot of different information and insight that helps me in my own work. Because of this, we're all able to bring something different to the table and collaborate on work that can help move the needle towards a more sustainable livestock sector. For example, we co-authored a 3-part brief that addresses various key issues within the livestock climate finance sector, including estimating livestock emissions, policy levers, and practical case studies that show how investments in this sector can lead to productivity gains and sustainable growth.
Yeah, so I guess that's all from me for now. If you're interested in the briefs, you can download them on our website. Also, we are very keen to hear from you. So if you have any comments on the Solutions Group approach or our theory of change and impact statement.
Thanks so much, Anna. And now we're going to move to another recap of and a celebration of one of our areas of work this year, which was around digital innovations for livestock development. So back in July and August, over 2 days, we held back-to-back community conversations where we invited global innovators, researchers, and practitioners to share their work, their insights, their challenges, and the goal was to inspire innovative approaches to filling livestock data gaps. So I'll give you a moment to look at this. These are our global innovators. These are our 12 innovators from around the world. They work across the spectrum of livestock systems and challenges in low and middle income countries. So you can get to know them. Recordings of all of their presentations. They each gave 5-minute presentations on their innovation. You can watch those at your own pace at the event webpage. But we were really pleased to have such a fantastic group covering everything from drones to a call center for Sahel's pastoralists and really interesting new technologies for disease detection, but also really important discussions around social inclusion and other important considerations. So some of the insights that came from the discussion, as I mentioned, digital inclusion is a challenge, and that spans both gender, but also other social vulnerable groups, making sure that technology is not just for us as sort of a privileged segment of society. There were some great insights on strategies for successful technology adoption. So for example, partnering with community organizations, user-centric design and government incentive schemes. Some of these groups work very closely with governments, and some of them are working in spite of perhaps low investment in data from livestock systems. So it's really interesting to see the range of views. We asked all participants to help identify kind of emerging challenges and issues, and these were the main ones that came out of the discussion. So scaling and transferability. Of course, if something works in one place, is it going to work well in another place, and how do you make sure it can be scaled up? Digital inclusion and equity. Best practices. There's so many mobile apps, so many ways to design and develop and disseminate mobile apps. Some way to sort of learn from what works and what doesn't work. There's an emerging frontier in the use of artificial intelligence, not AI, artificial insemination, in livestock management, and what that might mean for future development initiatives. And then a strong message about the need for supportive policies and governance to enable the successful use of digital innovations. So what happens next? So some plans are emerging. LD4D, responding to this feedback, our secretariat proposes to coordinate some kind of a stock taking on the use of digital innovations in livestock development. And this analysis could synthesize insights on technology uses and implementation. And this will be under development in the next year. Next year, we also hope to convene further discussions, diving into specific topics or technologies, and starting with the use of satellite technologies for closing data gaps in the livestock sector. So we hope that by addressing these topics, we can help really shape conversations that inform the future of digital innovation in this space. So we're really keen to have people be involved if you're interested in this topic. And these are some of the ways you can get involved. So after the meeting, of course, explore the innovations online. There's a lot of really rich conversations and presentations that you can rewatch at your own pace. Of course, if you're not already an LD4D member, become one so you can find out first about further discussions, opportunities, and events. And we invite you to join our next community conversation, which will be in February. It's an e-conversation co-hosted with ourselves and the Digital Agri-Hub. So with that, I would like to invite Giacomo Rambaldi from the Digital Agri-Hub to share with us the plans for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be with you today. So I'm part of the team managing the Digital Agri-Hub, which is a public good initiative developed and maintained by the Wageningen University and Research based in the Netherlands. Fundamentally, the hub tracks the evolution of the digital agriculture ecosystem in low and middle income countries. At the core of the hub rests the database, with a queryable dashboard currently featuring more than 1,250 digital solutions for agriculture, all deployed in low and middle income countries. In order to maintain a lively link with our audience and followers, the hub maintains an active social media presence and electronic communities of practice, all focusing on digitalization for agriculture. You see here 3 screenshots, which visualizes the English-speaking, which is the largest community. Then we have a Francophone community and a Spanish-speaking community. Yes, for the past 2 years, in partnership with a range of agencies, of development agencies, we have been hosting so-called e-conversations, which are facilitated email-based debates on a variety of topics. So on Monday, the 3rd of February, in partnership with LD4D, we are going to launch an e-conversation on the digital revolution in livestock development. And I've seen that digitalization is at the core of your current interest, and I'm very pleased about that. And we are going to, in this e-conversation, we are going to debate, discover, and brainstorm digital database innovations in the domain of your specific interests. To be part of the debate, you should join the community using the link which was just shared in the chat now and which is featured also on the slide. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Giacomo. That's really exciting. So we hope that all of you can join us and be part of that conversation next year, and we'll make sure to send announcements once we're ready to launch it. I will hand back to Anna. We are going to
Hello.
now start looking forward.
That's right. So we've looked back. We've had many achievements this year. So now we want to talk to you about what we're planning for the future. So I'm going to invite Julie Koehler, our head of gender data and livestock development at SEBI-Livestock. It's over to you, Julie.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to host this section of the conversation where we're really going to be highlighting the stellar work of two of the organizations who are currently contributing towards gender transformation work in the livestock sector. Both of these organizations will be hosting conversations in the new year through the Gender and Livestock Community of Practice within the LD4D network. And today they're really here to give you a little bit of a taste of what they're doing, really to pique your interest, as we would love to extend that invitation out to those of you who have not participated in our Gender and Livestock Community of Practice. And we'd love to invite you to join the conversations in January and March, where we're really going to be focusing on what are the opportunities that exist within the livestock sector to really integrate gender considerations with that goal to really transform the lives of women, men, and boys and girls through the work that we do as a sector. So this next year, we'll be really working to surface what are some of those sticky questions connected to data in the gender and livestock space, with the hopes that we will be a part of future solutions groups, as well as host a really gender-focused solution groups to really address some of these challenges. So we're excited for the next year as well. So to kick us off, I'd love to welcome two partners involved in the community of practice. And they'll be sharing about 5 minutes each, just to give a bit of a taste of what they're doing. So please welcome both Tanager and Ripple Effect. So from Tanager, we have Dr. Catherine Macharia-Mutie, and she's a public health nutrition development professional at Tanager, and currently is the deputy team lead for the Impacting Gender and Nutrition through Innovative Technical Exchange in Agriculture Plus, which in short is Ignite Plus. And that is a program implemented by Tanager based in Kenya. The second presentation will be from Sofanit Mesfin, who's with Ripple Effect, and she is the Gender and Social Inclusion Lead at Ripple Effect, based in Addis Ababa. I'm too many buzz. Sofanit really has a deep commitment to social impact, and in 2015 that was really solidified through her volunteer work with Ripple Effect, and has since then been working with them deeply to build some gender transformative tools. She has really put her financial expertise to creating hope and meaningful change for communities in need connected to the livestock sector. So I'd love to invite Catherine to kick us off. Catherine, over to you.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be here. So I'm gonna speak very briefly about Tanager and the work that we do with gender, and specifically in the livestock value chain. And Tanager is an affiliate of ACDI VOCA, part of the AV group headquartered in the US. So we have had different projects in different parts of the world, and I have highlighted a few projects here as part of the work we do to empower people and to support their economic and social opportunities. We have recently completed part of the work at the African Poultry Multiplication Initiative. We are currently implementing Ignite Plus, as Julie has mentioned. We just completed a 6-year piece of work in Ignite. We have another project in Burkina Faso, Celebi, again in phase 2. We have been on this since 20, we ended that for the second phase. And these 3 projects basically looking at issues on gender, women's empowerment, but really working in the poultry value chain, but also other livestock value chains such as dairy. But we also have other projects that we have implemented in Kenya, in Asia, Bangladesh, through our affiliate company, SEBI-Livestock. This is Livestock Market Systems Activity and Livestock Production for improved nutrition, and that's why I've labeled them in blue, because they have been done by SEBI-Livestock. But the reason why I bring them here on board is because within our technical learning, we collaborate very closely, and so we share part of the work we do. So I want to speak very briefly about Ignite, which is impacting gender and nutrition innovative technical exchange. Basically, it's a TA project, technical assistance project, which we offer technical assistance on gender and nutrition integration to African agricultural institutions. So we support many of these institutions who basically would be working on the area of productivity and economic empowerment, but also to support them to think about how their work has effect on, for example, the nutrition outcomes, but also the gender aspects of their work. And having done this work for the last 6 years, we worked with about 35 institutions within Africa. And out of these, 22 of them, we actually worked with them for a period of 2 to 5 years. So again, it's usually a very long-term engagement, because you work with the institutions at both the institutional level, where you're working on policies, strategies, staff development, and capacity building for staff, but also in M&E. And I want to specifically speak around data and M&E. Some of these institutions, we have worked with 12 clients so far, 12 institutions, to revise their M&E framework so that they are able to better capture the impact of gender and nutrition initiatives within both APMI and Ignite Plus projects, but also supporting 2 institutions to develop dashboards to visualize their gender data. And these 2 results are really based on the premise of, within the TA, we have domains that we follow, and one of them is M&E. How do you collect data? What data do you collect? But then the next domain is, how do you use data? How do you use it for learning? And so it's important that beyond data collection, that then this data is also used for decision making. And this is one of the areas that we support ag institutions, those working in livestock, but also in crop. So I will not limit myself to just livestock, but we also those that are in ag, in crop development. Within CELEVE, we work again, this is a direct implementation project where we work directly with around 120 beneficiaries, of which 50% are women. And we seek to improve, the efficiency around poultry ecosystem, increase women's economic empowerment. So you working with women, not just as producers or as poultry rearers, but supporting them to work through the value chain, such that we have even women vaccinators along the value chains. But of course, most importantly, increasing the equitable consumption of healthy and nutritious foods, which is a core of every work that we do, even as we are within the livestock value chain, thinking about how do you communicate your data, how do you communicate your work from a nutrition side of things, but also from a gender side of things. And so basically these 2 kind of projects are really helpful, kind of helping us to see what is it we do within gender and livestock. And we're looking forward to actually be able to have a longer conversation where we can share with you a little more of our work at the Ignite Plus. And in January, we'll be hosting a community of practice. So please welcome and join us. And so we'll tell you more, a little more on what we've done under the Ignite Plus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. So I just popped a question in the chat for those. I'm super interested to hear from people. How many of you really would find it valuable within your current or future programming to have access to this type of technical support in MEL and dashboards to really increase your understanding as a program or an organization of the gendered impact of your work? And what programs do you think might benefit from Tanager's work or a partnership with Tanager? So just throwing that in the chat. You're welcome to not only leave questions for our presenters, but also respond to the questions I throw in the chat. And I have one for each of our presentations. This is my first one. So with that, I'd love to transition and talk with our Ripple Effect colleagues. So Sofanit Mesfin, who is the head of, or the lead on gender and social inclusion within Ripple Effect, to talk to us a bit about some of the tools they use in their work across the board. So excited to hear from you. Over to you, Sofanit.
Thank you, Julie. So I'm Sofanit, and just to say a few words about Ripple Effect. Formerly, we were known as Sendeka. We have 30 years of experience working with farming communities in rural Africa, and we work in 6 African countries. As you can see in the map, we are present in Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and also we work through partner in Zambia, and we have our area of expertise are 3: gender and social inclusion, sustainable agriculture, and enterprise development. And we work with women. We have a focus on working with people with disabilities and also integrating youth in our work. And this is a pathway to our work related to gender equality. So we do implement the twin track approach, where we try to address the concerns related to men and women in every project that we implement, but we also do some specific activities related to women empowerment. And as a mechanism of change, we integrate the concerns of men and women in all policies and projects, but we also do work related to empowering women. And as a goal, we will achieve gender equality, and we are intentional about empowering all women and girls within our work. And like I said, within the twin track approach, we try to address the gender issues related to our projects, and we use our own gender transformative approach. It's called a transformative household methodology. It's a tool that we ourselves created by combining 2 existing tools. It's a very easy participatory gender transformative tool that involves all family members, and we use this tool and adapt it to any context so that we can address gender issues within different contexts, including gender issues within the livestock. And it's a very interesting tool, and we use it in all our projects, and we will talk about more on this tool and how we created it and what we do with it in the coming community of practice. And we also collect gender disaggregated data when it comes to livestock. So like I said, we do implement our gender transformative tool, which help us to address the gender issues. And we do collect gender disaggregated data to see how we address the gender issues within the livestock and the change that we are able to bring. So this is a sample of one of our projects where you can see how the gender issues have progressed. So we try to measure the involvement of women related to decision making related to livestock, and we try to collect this data on yearly basis. So we do it at baseline, and we collect this kind of data until the end line so that we can see the progress we are making related to gender and livestock. Thank you. That will be end of my presentation. But if you want to learn more about our work, come and join us for the community of practice, where we will be talking about the tool and how we collect this kind of data and the kind of impact that we are seeing within our work. And the community of practice will be on March. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sofanit. Again, I've popped a question in here connected to Sofanit's presentation that you're welcome to answer in the chat. You're also welcome to ask further questions to our presenters as we go throughout. Everybody's watching the chat, so if you want to have a little back and forth. But my question about ripple effects work is, if you had access to a data generation tool like this that can be used at design phase, baseline, midline, endline, and gets you quick, reliable information about the gender division of labor at a household level connected to the value chain work you're doing, how might you use it in your current and future work, right? How would this tool be useful to you? So would love to hear people's thoughts in the chat, or read people's thoughts in the chat, and please do ask more questions. So again, we're pounding it into you. Come enjoy conversations with us in the community of practice, but not just conversations, dialogue, really headed towards solutions, right? We're looking for opportunities. We're going to spend this next year really looking at what are some of those sticky questions that we think as a broader LD4D community that we might be able to give some solutions to that are cross-organizational and really make some impact. So come join us. Let's have conversations about opportunities and solutions. Over to you, Vanessa. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you to our guest speakers. I'm going to hand over now to Gareth Salmon, who is a senior researcher at SEBI-Livestock, to introduce our Feed Baskets session.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hello, everyone. My name's Gareth Salmon. I'm a senior researcher at SEBI-Livestock. I've been involved with LD4D for several years, and over those years, LD4D has evolved, and we're now exploring areas where we can collectively devise and produce solutions for persistent and high impact data challenges in the livestock sector. As such, feed baskets is of keen interest. Now, feed baskets, this is data on what livestock animals are being fed, what the quantities are, what the nutritional qualities are, what does availability and seasonality look like. This data is important to many decision makers, and that goes all the way from farmers deciding what to feed their animals or by necessity feeding their animals, to governments considering the greenhouse gas emission inventories or planning national feed resources. So LD4D is partnering with Cornell University to explore the landscape of livestock feed basket data challenges. We'll be engaging with decision makers, starting the route to solutions, and we'll hear a bit more about that shortly. After we've heard about that, we will move on to some breakout groups where we will hear from several of the network members about their work relating to livestock feed baskets, and in particular looking at pulling out specific challenges for decision makers and those people producing and processing data, and opportunities for solutions that we might see. So these are people who collect and process data, model impacts using data, and communicate evidence to decision makers. In the breakout rooms, we'll have the presentations, and then there'll be a time for a short discussion where we can again think about the common challenges we're seeing and trying to come to those ideas of solutions that we can take forward. So this whole session is intended to kick off LD4D's feed basket work and to motivate you all as a network to be involved in what will be a multidisciplinary and cross-sectional activities and eventual outputs. Carlos Gonzalez Fisher, a research associate at the Department of Global Development with the Cornell University, had hoped to join us today to present the next section. He was unable to, so I will present the next few slides. And again, thank you. So first of all, why feed baskets? I've covered a bit of this already, but it shouldn't be news to any of us that animals consume feed and produce food for human consumption. That's not all they do, but that's what that's a primary purpose. However, these animals have a genetic potential that gives a ceiling for yield or for production, and how far that ceiling can be realized is strongly influenced by what the animal eats, how much and what quality of feed that's going into these animals. And it's not just about the direct transfer of energy and mass of feed and food from feed to food production, but also that nutrition is such an essential part of general animal good health. Feed quantity and quality also determines several environmental, economic, or social impacts as well. So such as of very big interest at the moment, the emissions of greenhouse gases, methane in particular for ruminants, but others for other parts of the value chain and other species. If we start thinking about the cost of production for farmers and the availability and affordability of food for communities, and even the influence on migration, transhumance when food resources are scarce. So knowing what the animals are eating is crucial for the strategy planning of the sector, considering emissions or development of the sector. It can go on beyond our sector because there is also an opportunity cost of the matter that constitutes feed and the resources used to grow it could be used for other purposes. So it's an important thing to be considering. So what's the big challenges with feed basket data? There are many factors, but basically it comes down to the fact that animal diets are influenced by many different things, multi-causal. For instance, local availability of feed, the prices for the feed, the value of the animals that are being fed, and the value of the products that come out of those animals to determine how much farmers are willing to invest, and even preferences, be that cultural or individual farmer preferences. So this means that animal diets are incredibly heterogeneous, and that is across space, so amongst different countries, different regions, even different farms within regions, and also across time, so different years, different seasons. The data that we do have is limited, it's fragmented, and it's not always coherent or usable in a nice way. So we've understood that this information is crucial to make decisions, and we've understood these challenges. And the situation is particularly bad in low-income and low-middle-income countries where there's a real paucity of data, and we need to put a bit more effort to get hold of it. So that's why LD4D and Cornell are keen to work in this area and invite others to be involved. So as we've said a few times, LD4D is working on a collaboration with the Cornell Food Systems Global Change team, of which Carlos is part, as well as Mario Herrera, who many of you will know. And we are constantly, when I say we, this is Cornell, but anyone modeling impact, we're constantly needing to know about animal diets and trying to improve our understanding of them. For example, Mario's team has Merlin, which is a tool that stands for Modeling the Environmental Repercussions of Livestock Interventions. And this was developed to evaluate the potential environmental impact of an intervention on the livestock sector to guide decision makers. So models such as Merlin or even Gleam from the FAO, they all need feed basket data fed into them to be able to give us actionable insights. Where do we get this data from? Sometimes, but rarely, primary data collection, which is obviously costly and resource heavy. Most often we're relying on secondary data sources from literature, systematic reviews of literature, or secondary data in the form of expert opinion as well. So we can create data sets, and that has been done. So Mario and his team developed a data set more than 10 years ago. So we do have existing data sets, but they're often out of date. So there's effort to update those to make our calculations and our actions from the outputs of these calculations much more relevant. In addition, there are many areas and production systems where there is just not data. So we can't, there's no primary data, there's no secondary data in the literature, and that's where we rely on modeling to even get the data that ends up feeding into these models. So in collaboration, we're starting off by landscaping the decision makers and their data requirements and the challenges, getting to know what the decision makers need and what's holding them back. From there, we can then prioritize what we think that the LD4D network can actually provide solutions to, and move on to create relevant solutions groups, such as the example of the Climate Finance Solutions Group that Anna mentioned earlier, where we have a short timeline, experts brought together to produce a solution to a challenge identified through integrating with decision makers. And you'll all hear more about this in due course as we progress. But in the meantime, some contact details will be shown in a moment, but it'd be good for if you are interested in this topic or even being involved in the activities, please do reach out to Carlos and LD4D in general. So yeah, that's the last slide, and there's Carlos's details, but you can also just get in touch with LD4D as well. So now I will pass back to Vanessa to take us to our breakout rooms where we will hear from the members who are already involved in feed basket data sets. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Giuseppe Tempio. I work at a Global Livestock Environmental Assessment Model, GLIM, produced by FAO, and I will briefly introduce you to some of the updates and challenges concerning feed basket data in our work. So first and foremost, what is GLIM? Is a model for the assessment of the environmental impact of the livestock sector based on a life cycle assessment approach. It means that it can estimate impacts not only on farm from the animal production units, but also from upstream and downstream processes. The main objective of the model is to estimate different kinds of environmental impacts from the sector. It's based on a spatially explicit analysis with a global coverage and the possibility of allocating the estimated impacts to different animal products. So why are feed rations important for our work? We know that feed production and transport is associated with different kinds of environmental impacts. But even if we talk only about greenhouse gas emissions, these can account for at least 1/3 of total emissions from the sector based on our latest assessment. Moreover, feed basket can also influence the emissions directly produced by animals, like enteric methane and emissions from manure. And this is because of the nutritional quality and composition of the diet, mostly for the energy content, digestibility, and nutrient content of the feed baskets. Therefore, collecting accurate data on this is extremely important for us. So what are the main challenges in our experience related to feed basket data? They are mostly related to three main aspects that are, of course, data availability, representativeness, and how easily this data can be updated. And all of this is interconnected. So, for example, it's quite complex to build a data set on a global scale of feed basket data for each country, species, and production system that we consider in the model. And while a certain degree of generalization can be used to produce a global data set, this can reduce the representativeness at a more local scale, like, for example, a subnational or even farm level. While vice versa, data that are already collected at a local scale can be difficult to upscale. And of course, then data have to be representative also for different time period, and this can be complex to update and being keep updated in time. Up to this point, the model has been using a simplified list of feed items with about 40 commodities based on the most important ones at global level, and rations compositions were based on expert opinion, literature review, and modeling. And while this was suited for a global assessment, as I said, it was also difficult to use on a local scale, and for some of the data that we use, it was also difficult to update. So one of the first improvements we have been working on in the context of the ongoing developments of the model was the expansion of the feed list. We produced a new list with more than 170 feed items with data about nutritional quality for each of these items. And many of these are also commodities reported in FAO official statistics with the possibility of adding new items in the future. This should increase the flexibility of the model in capturing local diets while still allowing us to build a comprehensive data set at global level. Of course, we will need to also compile feed basket data using this new feed list. And for this, we plan to build a global network of focal points that could help us in data compilation and updates from different countries and regions. In the future, we would like also to develop a new modeling framework based on data about feed availability and trade that could help us in producing also time series and scenario analysis. And of course, additional challenges in this will be, for example, the inclusion of seasonality that in some contexts can be quite important and for which we already worked on some case studies. And of course, everything that is related to data about pasture, fodder crops, and crop residues because of the lower availability of data about these specific items. With this, I thank you for your attention. I invite you to visit our website and to contact us at the InfoGleam mailbox for every question you may have, or if you want to collaborate with us for our ongoing developments. Thank you again.
Hello, my name is John Mutua. I'm a PhD candidate at the School of Geosciences, University of Edinburgh in the UK. My research entails quantifying livestock diet composition in East Africa using geospatial techniques. Accurate livestock diet data is crucial for many reasons. For my current research, I'm quantifying it to improve the estimation of greenhouse gas emissions from livestock systems in East Africa, and as well use it as input data for assessing livestock feed balances. However, the available data is highly generalized, and secondly, mostly based on expert knowledge. And where data has been collected, only a few surveys have been managed because it's quite costly to collect it. In addition, available data doesn't account for spatial temporal variations in tropical systems, such as in Kenya. We are using freely available herd observation data to estimate what livestock eat and when in East Africa. We are using data on land use proportion, dry matter productivity from the Copernicus program. This dataset has a high temporal resolution, crop distribution data, growing season data, crop harvest indices, and crop utilization factors for the purposes of pastures and the crop residues. We then validate the estimates using ground data. We have done this in Meru in Kenya, which is a really interesting place. The county has various agro-ecological zones. So basically, you can actually move from arid zones to temperate zones just within the county. We collected the validation data in Meru in January and February early this year. We have found that livestock diet composition varies by seasons and livestock production systems. Natural grass dominates in mixed, arid, and humid systems. Crop residues are prominent in the hot cold dry seasons as expected. Cultivated forages are dominant in the urban areas as well as places where irrigation is practiced. And this is evident in the figure you see on the right, whereby you can actually see urban areas being dominated by cultivated forages, and the natural grass dominating the mixed arid and the mixed rain-fed humid systems. We went further to calculate diet quality from the diet composition data that we generated earlier and compared that with data from the household survey we conducted in Meru. We found high accuracies in the wet seasons and lowest accuracies in the dry seasons. Generally, we achieved moderate to high accuracies, and this can actually be demonstrated in the figure you see on the right. We have had challenges, of course. For example, feeding during the dry season is very spontaneous, with farmers feeding the animals what is available. So it's really hard to track feed items during that period. In some instances, feed is imported, and it again is really hard to track feed items that have been imported from other areas. Data on cultivated forages and concentrates is hard to estimate using geospatial data, but some with the location data is available in online repositories such as FIST. So maybe we could estimate cultivated forages area using satellite imagery. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, wherever you are in the world. My name is Segandao. I'm based in West Africa, where I support the New Zealand JG Inventory Improvement Program. It is a pleasure to share with you some of our activities which pointed out the need to investigate livestock feed baskets to estimate the digestible energy. Let's start by putting things in context. In Africa region, even if the UNFCCC recommends to use more advanced methodology to affect GHG emissions for a specific country, the IPCC default approach is always applied to calculate livestock GHG emission because of the lack of data and climate finance support. On the other hand, previous studies reveal that in terms of sensitivity, the digestible energy of the feed is one of the most significant parameters when the Tier 2 method is applied. So far in West Africa, even if there is some feed nutritive content data, diet composition data is very limited. Considering the underfunded condition in Africa region, two key questions can be raised. First, how to support countries to improve their GHG emission estimation, and second, how to help them to reduce emission from livestock. To address both questions, collaboration between partners and engagement are necessary to support decision maker, to validate and harmonize data collection protocol, to produce original and consistent data, and finally to implement a data archiving system in order to reduce the data gap relating to data availability. In this perspective, New Zealand, through the Livestock GHG Inventory Program, initiates some action in close collaboration with relevant stakeholders in participating countries in Africa. During in-country consultation, we clarify responsibility of each involved organization to address data collection and how to deal with missing data. During the data collection action, we assist feed baskets by gathering information relating to, for example, the sources, the livestock or the feeding system, and the diet composition. Livestock and climate change matters can be tackled by any one institution working alone. Indeed, sustainable solution will be found collectively. However, in terms of approach, we can promote existing open access information system like Feedopedia, or to collate existing data from different sources like research institutions, academia, ministries, or projects. So far, questionnaires follow a FAO census of agricultural guidance are used to collect diet composition data. However, this approach needs to be validated against direct measurements method. Finally, we can investigate how data collection can be benefit more than one country. For example, the project implemented in South Africa for Tier 2 inventories. This initiative allows to identify data gaps that are common across countries and to prioritize and coordinate future research activities. Thanks to our colleagues from LD4D Secretariat for this invitation.
Hello everyone, my name is Anne Notenbaert. I work for the Alliance of Biodiversity International in SEAD for the Tropical Forage Program. I am based in Nairobi. So let me start by repeating something that you've probably heard already today, is that feed baskets are really core to understanding the economic and environmental performance of livestock production systems. So we need to understand the feed basket, know about the feed basket if we want to quantify the performance in economic as well as environmental terms, and definitely also if we want to design interventions or target them to specific systems or specific geographies. So what do we really need to know? We need to know what is produced where, but also what is consumed, both in terms of quantity and quality. And we also like to know exactly where and at what time. On this slide, I'll briefly talk about 4 groups of methods for describing feed baskets. And I mean this in terms of the feed items that are being fed, in which proportions, and what the quality of these feed items is. The most obvious and direct method is through actual observations. And we have indeed carried out a number of on-farm measurements. But these are really time-consuming. Somebody needs to spend really long days on the farm, classifying and weighing feed items and taking samples for nutritional analysis. An alternative type of observation that has been tested consists of remotely sensed data. I believe others will talk about the challenges related to translating remote sensing information into actual feed basket descriptions. A seemingly more straightforward but also less reliable method is based on recall data, where we ask farmers or experts what they remember about the feed they gave to their animals. This recall consists of absolute quantities or relative contributions of different feed items to the overall feed basket. That is then typically still complemented by secondary data on the nutritional value of the feed items. Most people probably know Feedipedia, or the tropical forager selection tool, and the fact sheets with many different feed crops. But there is also a new endeavor of a few 1CGR research centers that brings together the wealth of data that has been collected over many years, but that is mostly hidden on the individuals' researcher computers. This database is still under construction, but will eventually be shared online and searchable by users. As you can see here, many different factors are included in the database. The last initiative I would like to mention is iCleaned. iCleaned is an environmental footprint calculator. There is a new online version which was launched just a few months ago. And one of the core data requirements of this tool is the feed basket. Since the tool has been applied across about 15 countries and a range of different livestock systems, a lot of effort has actually gone into collecting feed basket information and validating this with local stakeholders. So now we are actually working on cleaning this data, compiling it, and sharing it as examples together with the tool. We hope this will be a valuable resource. Well, that was everything from me today. Thanks a lot, and thanks for your attention.
Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have been working in Ethiopia and Burkina Faso for about 5 years, trying to improve quality feed supply. And I'm going to share my screen and show some of the innovations that we have developed over the years. And so the first one, as I think you can see, is improved forages that we introduced to Ethiopia and Burkina Faso from Florida, improved varieties of grasses, of legumes, of oats, and so on, which have now been approved by the government after years of validation and released for widespread growing. And then secondly, we developed feed maps in Burkina Faso, and these allowed us to identify areas of surplus feed supply and deficit feed supply. We'll talk about those more later on. And then we also introduced in Burkina Faso a brand new online database for a feed database with 4,000 feeds. And in Ethiopia, there was one in existence, but we also updated it with 4,000 feeds. So you can see the database here with some of the screenshots from that app. And then in addition to that, we introduced mobile NIRS in Burkina Faso and Ethiopia, which are a fraction of the price of the typical desktops and are just as effective. And finally, we introduced green feed systems for monitoring methane. In all of these, the biggest questions we were trying to answer were, how can we ensure improved quality feed supply? Because we worked in the innovation lab for livestock systems we've been doing that for about 9 years and worked in about 6 countries initially. All the countries, these were in Africa and Asia, they told us that feed was the greatest constraint to livestock production. And so we're trying to improve feed supply, not just any feed, but quality feed supply. Feed prices are a major high costs of livestock products. And so by addressing that, we're also trying to reduce feed prices. The biggest challenges that we have encountered relating to the data are for the databases that we created, the online databases. Accessing feed price information is a big challenge. And of course, that information is very dynamic. It changes from day to day. For the NIRS or ration formulation, I'm not sure I even talked about that. We also developed ration formulation apps that we've deployed in 5 Asian and African countries. For both of those, the big challenge is getting wet chemistry data for calibrating the NIRS relationships, and then also analytical data on feeds in the country, uncommon feeds that are used in the country, getting that information included in the database. And then in addition, the green feed machine, which we installed in Ethiopia, big issues with that, with electricity power supply, issues with getting replacement parts to make sure that the equipment continue to function. And so that was one where we had to abandon, unfortunately, that project, that aspect of the project. But in Burkina Faso, we're able to derive some real quality methane data for the first time in that country. So some of the things that we've been able to get, of course, we have collected some feed price data. We have the online databases, but of course, the information on the prices is old. There's a need to continue to acquire feed characterization data to update the databases, the online database, the ration formulation apps that we deployed. So those are real world issues that need to be addressed. Those are issues we have partially found solutions for. The power supply issues for green feed are an issue, but the fact that you also have to send information to the company is also a big issue. Thank you.
We are going to then turn to a topic that is crucial to the success of our network, and that is member engagement. That is our engagement with yourselves. So over the years, LD4D has matured with a vision to become a true collaborative, multi-stakeholder, and member-driven network. To meet this vision, in 2024, we revisited our member communications and engagement approach. It meant hearing what you, LD4D members, had to say to fully understand your aspirations, needs, and the opportunities that you see in more actively contributing to the network. So we went through the feedback that we've received over the years through our different annual meetings, and we also talked to many of you through one-on-one interviews. What we heard particularly is the need to better understand what it is to be a member, what it means to engage, and how one can do that. So these findings really validated our envisaged engagement strategy and also the solutions group model, and it really helped us to refine the impact statement, which you saw earlier. As a response, we've decided to strengthen some key foundations. So that is a collective vision, a defined membership, a clear value proposition, and a menu of engagement opportunities. So for the vision, we've crafted what we hope is a more compelling vision. We hope that you'll see yourselves in this vision. It articulates our collective purpose and also the deeper meaning behind our work. So our goal is to transform LD4D from an information broker to a more active network that drives impact through shared knowledge, tangible data-driven outputs. And we want to emphasize that we are network-powered and solutions-driven. So we came up with the following tagline: connect, learn, collaborate, powering together data-driven decisions towards sustainable livestock. We hope that this reflects, our ambitions and your ambitions as well. And our collective impact really is only realized through this group here today and all the others who couldn't make it. Professionals spanning different countries, expertise, and backgrounds. And by joining forces, we hope we can bring our impact statement to life. As mentioned earlier, we're a growing network, currently connecting over 1,500 members among a diverse group of actors, policymakers, researchers, investors, project implementers from nearly 80 countries. So we also developed a stronger value proposition for our members. That is, what does it mean to be a member? So what's in it for you? What's in it for yourselves? And so we believe that by joining LD4D, you become part of a dynamic network that generates collective impact. It supports knowledge sharing and networking, and it can generate influence and expertise. So the collective impact side is, of course, down to improving livelihoods in low and middle income countries through our collaborative efforts, through our co-created solutions, through addressing decision maker challenges, deploying, improving data and evidence so that it can be trusted, so that it can shape policies and investment and implementation strategies. For the knowledge sharing, it's really about bringing people together as we are today with professionals across countries and expertise to support each other and to learn from each other. And the influence and expertise is about leveraging the data tools and knowledge products that we create together to influence the policies and guide investments. So finally, we developed a menu of opportunities to showcase the different ways that you can interact and engage. So we've got on the left-hand column changemaker groups. That includes solutions groups. So you've seen our work around climate finance and livestock. You see the work that we're hoping to get off the ground with feed baskets and also potentially the gender solutions group. One thing that is new is consultations and focus groups. So this is something that we're going to be unrolling, and these will be opportunities for members to provide input and feedback and consult on the development of data tools and make data and evidence more accessible. We're also open to new ideas for changemaker groups, so please get in touch if you have an idea, if you want to steer a group. We're very interested in speaking to you. Next category around opportunities are flagship events. So this event here today is our annual member meeting. It's an annual gathering. I don't need to say more. We want to keep doing these, but we also did a big event in the middle of the year. This one was focused on digital innovations. It was an opportunity to explore technologies and strategies, scan horizons, define solutions or opportunities. So we hope to do a similar engagement either on the same theme or on a different theme moving forward next year. In terms of learning, networking, groups, and meetings, you've heard from the gender community of practice. We also might hold topical community conversations on thematic areas that you might define. You might tell us that you want to hear about or learn about something specific, and we can organize a conversation around that. And lastly, we hope to have occasional in-person networking events at the sideline of major conferences. We didn't do too much this year. We did manage to meet on the sidelines of New York Climate Week with a few of our members, but that is something that we anticipate will develop over the next year. So in terms of staying connected, just a quick note that we have listened to your feedback and we've updated our website with a clearer sign-up page, a new become a member page, and we're working on a page around this menu of opportunities and the ways to engage to make that much clearer. We're also going to develop a flyer, an onboarding toolkit, and more. So as you sign up, you know what you're getting, you know what you're signing up for, and you know about the opportunities. And for the people here who maybe haven't registered as a member, please don't hesitate to do it. It's free. The more you tell us about yourself when you sign up, the more that we, the team, can refine our outreach to you on specific opportunities. So we may be looking for experts on a specific theme, a specific topic, to be part of a consultation and so forth. So do let us know about your interests. So in the meantime, contact us if you're interested in specific work streams. So just to recap, check the website. You can explore visualizations, publications, data sets. You can learn more about some of our members' innovations through our member spotlight. You can discover the past events, webinars, rewatch them. You can also find out about upcoming events. As I said before, do become a member, sign up, you'll get our newsletter as well as invites and announcements about ongoing and new initiatives. And we also invite you to follow our LinkedIn page. We have been engaging already with many of you through our new LD4D LinkedIn page. We only launched it in September. It already has 760 members and is growing fast. So please do join us there. So this is really a reminder of all the ways to join us. Hopefully you've heard this before today. I mean, during today, we've repeated this many times. So for the climate finance work, use the briefs, share the briefs. There's the link. Give us feedback. If you feel like there's more gaps, let us know. We're very keen to have those conversations. For the gender group, join that community of practice. Join the discussions in January and March. Be part of building really critical solutions for supporting gender empowerment. On feed baskets, we'd love people to provide food for thought to nurture the working group development, so please stay tuned. The digital innovations, the January discussions that we mentioned with the Digital Agri-Hub are open to anyone. We'd love for people to participate and bring really the livestock perspective over to the the agriculture world. I think there's often a very small representation of livestock perspectives, so I think that's really important. Another point is that if you feel like you might be a potential partner to support some of the work that we do, please do get in touch with Anna. That would be really fantastic. And if you're not already a member, or if you are a member and you want to get in touch, you can write to us, follow LinkedIn, sign up for the newsletter. I'll hand over to Anna for the closing.
So thank you so much to our speakers. Thank you so much to all of you for coming and providing your feedback and listening to our conversations. Like Vanessa said, stay in touch with us.